MachineTutorials.com.
Yo, what's good? This is St. Joe, MachineTutorials.com, here with a quick video on the Maschine Jam for the sample-based users. I know Maschine Jam isn't really geared towards sampling, or it's not really geared towards editing samples and things like that, but there is something that you can do on the Maschine Jam that you can't do on Maschine Studio or Micro or even, the MK2, and obviously that's access more than 16 slices at one time. We know if you try to do that on Maschine, if you try to assign it to a group, it doesn't overflow. If you just assign it to a specific pad, it puts that pad in keyboard mode, but you still got to use, octave up and down and everything. When you got Maschine Jam, you can actually access all those slices if you chop it the proper way. So, nothing super crazy, super hidden, but again, something I want to make people aware of. So let's just go to slice mode, and I'm going to put this on split, and we'll just turn up to 32. So 32 slices. Of course, I can shift and go over to the next bank and get the rest, but the main thing now is I can either apply it to this pad and put that pad in keyboard mode and have to use octave up and down to access my slices, or I can apply it to a group and get 16 slices. I'm going to apply to that pad, click OK. Of course, like I said, it puts me in pad mode on the Maschine controller or Maschine Studio, MK2, or Micro. But the thing is, I would have to actually octave up and down to get to those other samples and all that craziness. But on the Jam, I can just shift and go to keyboard mode and actually see all of my slices. And if we were to actually, let's go back into sampling mode, I'll just pull that up. We can see. So all of my slices, of course, if I was on the regular Maschine controller, and I go to pad 16, I have to change my octave just to get to the rest of the samples. But if you got it on the Jam, so I can mess with a slice, at the beginning and another one all the way at the end. And also, one of the things for this one is, a lot of times I know when people are playing back chops, they usually put it on full velocity or anything like that. So the lack of velocity sensitivity when you're dealing with your chops may not be as much of an issue. So again, that's another thing that I wanted to bring up when you're using a Maschine Jam, is this may be useful for your chops when when you want to play them all at the same velocity anyway. If you don't and you do wish that you had velocity sensitivity, well, you're not going to get that from the Jam. But again, you have access to all of your samples or all of your slices, and it really allows you to come up with more ideas, obviously. Obviously, ways to play it back that you couldn't do on the Maschine controllers, because you'd have to be going into your octaves and up and down and different things like that. So again, of course, you could do this if you were playing from a keyboard. But again, if you're using the Maschine Jam, or you're mainly just using the Maschine controller and you're wondering how Maschine Jam may be beneficial to you, that's one thing if you want to be able to play with your slices all at once. Or if you have the Maschine Jam and this is something that you really didn't think about, again, just go into keyboard mode and you can access all your slices as long as you apply it to an individual pad. Of course, this is St. Joe, MachineTutorials.com. Let me know if you have any questions. Come check us out if you're looking for help with Maschine. I'll see y'all later. Peace.